What was the most difficult thing a loved one ever did to you? I met Arya behind the gym where the paint on the cinder blocks always peeled like sunburn. I was 16 and busy pretending my life had a plot. She was 16 and already looked like someone who'd read the last page. She had a backpack covered in band patches, a split knuckle she didn't explain, and an orbit that pulled me in like gravity with chipped nail polish. The first thing she said to me wasn't hello. It was, "You look like you need coffee." I said I didn't drink coffee. She said, "That's a cry for help." It started small. Walks to the bus stop that got longer on purpose. Sharing earbuds because both of us were too broke for new ones. I learned how she counted steps when she was anxious and always landed on 8. She learned I could fix a locker jam with a ruler and a prayer. Her mom worked nights and slept through afternoons. Her dad was a ghost everyone said was getting better this time, which is a sentence that should come with a warning label. We were the kind of kids who believed we could save each other with thrift store jackets and late night pep talks. I told her I'd get her out of that apartment. She told me no one had ever promised her anything before, so could I be careful with my promises? We were both lying, just gently. Our first kiss was on a curb outside a laundromat that smelled like quarters and steam. She laughed into my mouth, surprised at herself. "I don't do this," she said.
"Neither do I said, which was true in the way that facts can still be naive.
She took my hand and squeezed it like she was testing its brakes. For a while the world was smaller and safer and shaped like us. Then her dad came back. You can tell when a man moves into a place where fear already lives. The hallways get quieter. Doors close sooner. Arya started wearing long sleeves even when the weather forgot to be cold. I asked once, softly. She stared past me at nothing and said, "He's fine." Then she added, "Don't make me pick a side." We both knew which side she meant. She changed in ways I didn't have words for yet. She could go from laughing to hollow in one breath. She hated sleeping. She started needing to control the few things that would hold still for her grades, her hair, me. I didn't push back because when the world is whipping someone you love, you start thinking the kindest thing you can be is a wall. The night everything tilted, she came over after a fight at home. Her knuckles were fresh this time. My mom was at work. We ate cereal on the floor and watched a show we'd already ruined by finishing it without the other. When she reached for me, it felt like a question. Then the question turned into an order I didn't know how to answer without breaking something important. I said, "Wait," once. "Quiet." She said, "Please don't leave me," like a person hanging off a ledge. I thought if I said no, I was pushing her back toward a house that didn't know how to hold her. I thought love meant you erase yourself so the other person can breathe. I learned I was wrong 2 seconds too late. There's a word for what happened, but I didn't let myself say it for a year. Boys don't say it about girls because of jokes and movies and 1,000 tiny scripts. But if I'm going to tell this right, I didn't consent. She did it anyway. I froze. My body did what bodies do when they're afraid and coached and confused at the same time. When it was over, she cried like she'd just fallen through thin ice and said, "You still love me, right?" I said yes because I thought I owed the world calm. For a while I convinced myself it was just messy. Teenagers are messy. We kept going. She started to test me more. Stay later, text back faster, skip class because you owe me. I stopped sleeping. The mirror started returning a face that felt borrowed. Then a guy named Mason showed up at the edges. He had a car that didn't rattle and a laugh he aimed at people like a flashlight. He gave her rides home. He turned up at the same diner we used like a coincidence with perfect timing. I told myself not to be the jealous boyfriend because that's a costume no one looks good in. Then I saw a receipt in her pocket for milkshakes I didn't drink and a handprint on her wrist that wasn't mine. When I asked, she said, "I can have friends." When I pressed, she said, "He listens." When I said, "So do I," she said, "Not like that." When I shut up, she kissed me and said, "See? You know your place." I laughed, because sometimes laughing is the only way to stall a collapse. The collapse came anyway. She told me she needed space and used that space to fill Mason's passenger seat. I found out from a video, blurry, whooping, someone's Instagram story, that caught the corner of her face and his hand on her knee. I threw my phone at my bed and missed. I punched my own thigh like pain could decide where to live. I carved a line into my arm with a house key and then stared at it like a stranger had done it to me. I messaged her that I was fine. She didn't answer. Weeks passed where I measured days by how loud my chest could be without cracking ribs. Then she messaged. Of course she did. "I made a mistake," she wrote. "You're the only one who really knows me." She sent a photo of the skylight above her bed, the one that leaks when it rains. We met in the park at dusk because I am an idiot with a memory that forgives too fast. She cried on my jacket. She said Mason was too much. She said she was broken, and I said, "You're not broken, you're cut, because I am the king of metaphors that can't stop bleeding." We tried again. For 2 weeks we were almost kind. Then she admitted there were others. She said it without flinching, like a fact she'd kept in a pocket. 2, maybe 3. I needed to feel something, she said. I said, so did I. That was the end I could name. I said I couldn't do this. She said I was abandoning her, just like everyone else. I said I hoped she'd get help. She laughed like I'd told her to drink water. She left. The aftermath was a long hallway with the lights going out one by one. She told people I was controlling. She told one girl I'd forced her to prove she loved me, which is a sentence that still makes my ears ring. I started correcting rumors and realized that just saying my version out loud made me sound like I was on trial for wanting to be treated like a person. So I shut up. I deleted apps. I did the small, stubborn things you do when you're trying not to vanish: school, shifts, microwave dinners, walks that ended up at the same bench where we'd kissed the first time. She wasn't done. She showed up outside my work once leaning on Mason's car like a dare. "Miss me?" she said, and then, quieter when he walked inside, "You'll come back," I said. "No." She smiled with her teeth. "You always do." I didn't. I blocked every number she could borrow. I told my mom the version of the truth she could hold and a counselor the version that made me shake. The counselor didn't blink when I said the word I'd been avoiding. He didn't say, "But you're a guy," he said, "I'm sorry. That wasn't your fault." I cried in a strip mall office with bad carpet and felt my lungs relearn a shape. She sent one last message from a new account the week I turned 18. "I hope you're happy," it said. "You ruined me." I stared at it for a long time because there was a month last year when I would have believed that and worn it like a coat. I didn't answer. I put my phone in a drawer and went for a run until my legs hated me more than my head did. If you're here for a tidy lesson, I don't have one. I have scar tissue and a better lock on my door and a list on my phone titled non-negotiables that has 5 simple lines. I get to say no. No is a full sentence. Love doesn't need proof. Jealousy isn't the same as intuition. I'm allowed to leave. Sometimes I pass the laundromat and the curb looks exactly like it did the day we kissed and I feel this ache for a boy who thought he could be a life raft with 2 skinny arms. Sometimes I see the back of a head with the same hair and I have to sit down until the adrenaline forgets my name. Sometimes I imagine writing Arya a letter where I say everything carefully and kindly and she reads it and finally understands. Then I remember she already understood. Understanding wasn't the problem. I'm 18. It feels like a baby and 100 years at the same time. I don't have a new love to end this with. No, she taught me how to cook and I never look back. I have me, and the fact that I said the word out loud, and a body that belongs to me again. I have friends who know the real story and don't ask for scenes. I have nights where sleep shows up without being begged. If there's any ending worth writing, it's this: I didn't go back. And when my brain tells me I was supposed to be a savior, I remind it that I'm just a person who survived. Which, on some days, feels like the bravest thing I've ever done.